First off, we have fundamentals of design, which are many principles actually. However, I wanted to showcase just two of them, and these are contrast and balance. Contrast, as you can see in this icon, it's the difference between colors, and balance is mainly the distribution among elements in a design, in an image or graphic. Here we have some contrast between colors and how they can be really good or really bad. If we zoom in, we can see purple with blue, which could look great, but in these cases, it's badly used. Most people stick to using black and white. Right now, it's not trendy or trending using absolute colors, just like black and white. It's mostly gray and, well, dark gray, lighter gray, and so on. And we have here an example of balance. This is a magazine. On the left side, we have this text box, which is huge, and there's a bunch of empty space that isn't being used. On the right side, we have different colors, different text boxes, and it all goes around wrapping the image, which is pretty cool because it gives this sensation of being complete. Now, this takes us to text hierarchy, and I have this graphic. It says you will read this first, and it's the bigger text, and then you will read this line next, and then you'll probably read this before the paragraph, and so this way you can see how the bigger the text, the most probabilities there are that someone will read it. Now, we have logo and branding. First off, we have to remember that usually our brands, businesses need to have many different logos. We need these different options to adapt to the space we want to use them in. There are logo types, symbols, and recently there's been this new one called favicon, which is the logo that appears on top of a tab in any browser. Everyone should be aware that they are options we have that can adapt and be responsive. In these cases, we have Coca-Cola, Chanel, Disney, and you see how we can use a big logo but can be very noticeable, as well as just one letter or an icon, which can work perfectly for apps and browsers. Then we have branding, which can be anything that can represent the look and feel for your brand or business. This can be color palettes, typographies, and anything to avoid. We have to keep in mind that for typographies, we have to be aware that they are free to use or that we have a valid license in these cases, because there are typographies that are free to use, However, on the other side, there are typographies that aren't free to use because you need a commercial license to use them. And so you have to look it up and be aware that you are using the right one so you don't have problems later. In this case, grab this example for McDonald's. We can see they have all the don'ts that you can't distort out the logo, can't use letters or text in front of it, or even use it upside down. And then we have all the color codes for CMYK, RGB, hex, and all of these work for printing, for digital media. And then hex is for Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator. Now, I want to ask you, what makes a good app? For me, it keeps you informed. You know who it belongs to, something is being offered, you can tell what the picture is about, you can recognize the branding, which is different to knowing who it belongs to, because, of course, you can have the name of the brand, of the business, in the website. It's there, however, you may not think that the colors they're using, or the typographies, or fonts, or anything else actually belongs to it. And finally, it must be eye-catching.